This break is brought to you by Netflix. Head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV to sign up for a free 30-day trial. Could MMOs be a little bit better if they didn't try and paint us all as heroes? Or do we still need to be told that we're all unique and special snowflakes, even if we know that we aren't? Here with me to talk a little bit about this philosophy is Gamebreaker writer Jason Winner. Now, Jason, you're kind of saying that MMOs have been lying to us all along, aren't you?
Yeah, it's true in a way. I mean, there's obvious sort of things where it's go kill the dragon, then he pops up another week later. But in a larger sense, the lie of the MMO world is about identity, I think, and whether it still makes sense to make the character feel special and unique. I mean, MMO quest lines, they still tend to follow single-player RPG conventions, which is you're the only person who can stop us. You're the Dragonborn. You're the hero, whatever. Which is true in a single-player game, but not so much in an MMO. And it's even worse when there are some games that say only you can do this. But underlying the lore in a lot of these games is a notion that there are thousands or millions of heroes. Like that's central to the storyline of DC Universe Online, of Rift, where there's all the Ascended coming back, where all these heroes have been created. So, which is it? Are you the one single guy who has to help Superman do this, or are there millions of you? It's kind of it kind of breaks immersion almost to try and swap between the two identities.
You are the 1 million person that we need to have do this for us, but you, my friend, are the special one.
Chosen one.
So what's the
chosen
answer?
To kill those 10 rats?
Chosen to kill the 10 rats and then bring me 10 boar's teeth. So what's the answer here, though? I mean, do you? Because if you take it to the other extreme and say that nobody's a hero, you're basically just going to get a bunch of. You're gonna kind of insinuate that everybody playing the game is just a sword for hire, and then you don't really feel any sort of special connection to the game at all.
Yeah, and I definitely see how that wouldn't suit some folks. They'd rather be thought of as the big world-conquering hero or larger-than-life figure, and that's obviously appealing. But then you look at some other games and the way they're handling things, something like PlanetSide 2, for instance, where you're just going to be another soldier. You're one of hundreds or thousands or whatever. They're going to be storming the base or doing this, that, or the other thing, and it doesn't so much have a storyline where you are General Kick-Ass, and you're going to lead the troops to battle or whatever. You're not special beyond what you do in the field and what others might learn about you. You might become General Kick-Ass, but only if you actually are that good and earn the respect and admiration and get other players to follow you.
Well, and the first thing that I think of when you bring up something like PlanetSide 2, I'm like, well, no, Halo kind of had that, the Spartans, right? But no, there was Master Chief, and I think what's interesting there, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is by making you one of the masses, by making everyone just a neutral person, you allow the society, you allow the gamers to dictate who Master Chief is, and if you're just that good, you can almost gain a level of prestige and exclusivity to being this really amazing fighter of awesomeness, just because everybody knows that when you come into a game, you absolutely dominate.
Right. It's more driven by the players than it is driven by the game. The players tell you that you're special and unique, as opposed to the game telling you that, when obviously, if everybody could be unique, nobody is. That sort of thing.
Sure. But here's the other thing that PlanetSide does kind of help with, is that it applies fairly well in PvP situations where you kind of need to rise to the top and become the best, but there isn't much in the way of story with PvP. So could this be adapted to PvE?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, you look at a game like, let's say maybe Guild Wars 2, where they do the personal story, but apart from that, you're just kind of going out and doing stuff. You get a little ego stroking from the renowned heart people, but it still seems fairly organic. Like you're just one of 10 people or whatever who are escorting this caravan or doing whatever. And then another game I think that could have done really well with this is World of Darkness. If you're familiar with the World of Darkness universe, you start off generally your vampire career as a nobody. You're a pawn of the more powerful elder vampires. So I could see a lot of that game being about striving to become somebody. Yeah, you do missions for NPCs or whatever, but for the most part, there's the lack of acknowledgement. Or excuse me, there isn't the lack of the tacit acknowledgement that there are other people there, all striving for favor, the same as you. And maybe there's some ranking system that reflect your progress, reflect titles you gain, and that might be a good way to go about it with something like a ranking system, sort of like how you might move up in rank in a game like PlanetSide 2 or something like that, where you gain control of an actual army or something like that.
I've always kind of personally felt that for PvE players, some of the best prestige of feeling like you are the one, you are the one that rose to the top and beat it all, were server first titles. Now, there's obviously, and I'm specifically talking about World of Warcraft, but there's obviously reasons why they've pulling those back and they're not offering those anymore. But that to me was a way of kind of separating and giving a little bit of prestige and challenge to make those chosen few, those first few people to kill Yogg-Saron with 0 keepers alive, they get to hold Death's Demise for beating it. That kind of transcends the world and makes them feel a little bit more special, like they were a little bit more part of it than everybody else. Is that something that could maybe work? Because then like World of Warcraft saw, you run the risk of players getting upset over the fact that they can't get a title that other people have access to.
Right. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a sort of thing that only one person gets and then nobody else can ever have. Because then, like you said, you have that issue where if I get into the game a few months later, I'm not going to get any of that sort of thing. Whereas there should always be the possibility for you to advance and to become unique through the game world. It just doesn't necessarily have to be that every NPC tells you how great you are.
Right. Well, it's an interesting topic in theory, mostly just because it's so prominent in every game. You're kind of told to be special, yet everybody along the way is kind of told to be special. So it'll be interesting to see how games kind of develop and break that mold as we go forward, because some games are definitely doing it and could very well create just as exciting as of an environment. For more MMO talk with topics kind of just like this one, be sure to catch This Week in MMO. It airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. or at 6 p.m. PDT. Jason, thank you so much for your insight here on the theories of how MMOs are handling this issue. And guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.